Hi there, this is my demo for TAS 7.1. So this is the database helper. So first few lines here are the constants for the database name, version table name, and every column name. But then we have the constructor, which just passes the database name and version to the parent class. And then we have onCreate, which builds the create table statement using all those columns constants and runs it. And then we have an upgrade, which drops the table and recreates it. And then we have insert items, which gets a writable database, puts every field from the item into a content value and insert it, and also closes the database. And then we have get all items, which gets a readable database, runs a select all query ordered by ID descending, so the newest item shows first, right? And then loops through the cursor, adding each row to a list, and then closes everything and returns the list. Then we have get items by category. It's the same thing, but the query has a where clause on the category column. So this is what powers the filter on the list screen. And then we have get item by ID, which fetishes a single row matching the given ID. And then we have delete item, which removes a row by ID. And at the bottom, we have the cursor to item. This is a helper that pulls every column out of the cursor and then builds an item object. And then we have create advert activity Java file. So this is the form screen. So at the top, I've got the field variables, the selected image URI, and then the database helper and the category array. Right below is the image picker. So the image picker Launchchat uses a register for activity result with the get content. So for example, when the user picks up photos, it saves the URI and shows a preview. And also here in onCreate, I set the layout, create the database helper, find all the views, and set up the category array dropdown with an array adapter, and set the click listeners on the date field and upload button and the save button. And then show date picker opens a date picker dialog. So when a date is picked, it formats it and set it on the text field. Save button starts by grabbing all text values and trimming them. Then it checks if anything is empty and shows toast if so. And then it checks if an image was selected. After that, it reads the post type from the radio group and then generates a timestamp with the simple date format. Then it builds the item object and sets all the field for the image. It calls copy image to internal, which I will get to next. Then it insert the item into database and either shows a success toast and closes or shows an error. And then we have the copy image to internal. So here it opens an input stream from the URI, which creates a new file in internal storage, copies the byte over, and then returns the file path. So I do this because the content URIs loses read permissions after the session, so saving the actual file is more reliable. So next we have the list screen. So at the top, as you can see, I've got the database helper, adapter, and then the empty text variables. And then in onCreate, I set up the database helper, find the views, and then set the layout manager on the recycler view, like load all items, create the adapter, and set it. And then I check if the list is empty to show or hide the empty text. Then below that is the chip listener. So here, when a chip is tabbed, it gets the text, and if it says all, it loads everything. Otherwise, it loads items filtered by that category. And then next we have on resume, which resets the chip to all and reloads the list so that it's fresh after coming back from the another screen. And then we have load items, which checks if the category was passed. If it not, it gets all item. Otherwise, it gets item by category. Then it updates the adapter and the empty states. And then we have the detail activity Java file. So this is the detail screen, as you can see. Here in onCreate, it sets up the database helper, gets the item ID from the intent, and then returns L if the ID is missing or the item doesn't exist. Okay, now let's create a new advert. Click save. It won't let me. Please upload an image. So let's upload an image. So I've got this uploaded image. Click save. Let's show all lesson 5 items. I've got filters by categories, wallets, keys, bags, clothing, items. I'll click last. As you can see, we've got the type, category, and the date, demo test, date, location, and font. Let's, for example, click remove, item removed.